Hey, my name is Gaia Athena and today I'm bringing you the Choose the Year tag. This tag was originally created by Mel's Bookland Adventures and I was tagged by Emily from Novelle Novels, and I will leave links to their videos down below. Emily, thank you so much for tagging me. I'm excited to do this tag, so here we go. I apologize for having to wear a hat, but it got really sunny all of a sudden and I can't, it's too much for my senses, so I'm sitting here with a hat. I'm sitting on this side because on the other side we got the laundry, and I was quite enthusiastically petting my dog earlier, and she's shedding a lot because it is getting warmer and everything, so yeah, I apologize. Anyway, let's get into the questions. Question 1 is choose a year and say why. I'm choosing the year 1985, which is the year that I was born. My birthday is pretty special in that all the numbers are divisible by 5. So yeah, 1985 is a special year to me, and yeah, so I chose this year. Question 2 is which books published in that year have you read, or have heard of at least, if you haven't read any. And I have read a couple. I figured this out using the GoodReads link of what were the books most popular in the year 1985. So I will try to leave that link down below, because most of the books that I own are actually published like a bit later than when they were originally written. So for this video I'm going by the originally first published date, which is not my copies, but that's, yeah. The first book is Heaven by Virginia Andrews. This is the first book in the Castile series, and this is the Dutch translation. Hemel zonder engelen, or like heaven without angels is what it means. And I read quite a lot of Virginia Andrews' books when I was a teenager, so this one as well. I've actually reread this one several times, and the last time I tried rereading it, this is to how far I got when I was maybe late teenager, early 20s. I have since managed to find an English copy. I found this for cheap at a book fair, and I decided to pick it up so I could try reading Virginia Andrews in English for once, because I'm not sure, like, will it be different or not? So when I reread this book again, I will be reading the English copy and seeing how I get on with that. Yeah, I liked this book at the time, yeah. It was, I think book 1 is one of my favorites of this series, although this series is not my favorite of her series, but yeah. Oh, it's about like a girl who lives in like a family, and because the family is so poor, their father sells heaven to like a rich family. I can't quite remember all that much. It's been a long time since I read this. Then another book that I've read that was published in 1985 is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I found this at a book fair years ago and I picked it up and I decided to give it a go. This author doesn't, let's put it this way, this author's views and my own views don't match. Maybe you've heard of this author. So I quite liked Ender's Game, but I am not really like planning to reading a lot more of his works, because I think he's like quite homophobic and stuff, and that's just not something that I want to support. But I did like Ender's Game. Well, Ender's Game is about a boy who goes to battle school, and he is training to fight aliens. That's kind of it. I like the book. I enjoyed the movie, but okay. And then the third book is The Mammoth Hunters by Jean Auel. This is book 3 in the Earth's Children series. I haven't actually read this copy. I read the first 4 books in this series when I was a teenager. My parents have them all in Dutch, and so I read the Dutch series, and at the time I think there was 4 of them published, or at least my parents had 4 of them, the first 4. So I read those and I liked them, and then some years ago I found book 3 in English at a book fair, and I liked the series, so I wanted to have my own copies, so I bought this, but I haven't actually reread it yet. And then, but when I do, it will be in English, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I haven't actually read this copy specifically. I've read the Dutch, but yeah, I enjoyed this series at the time. This whole series is about Ayla, who lives in the time of prehistory. I think that's what you'd call it. The early humans. The next question is: Are there any books published in the year, and which ones would you like to read? There are a few. I have to admit, I mostly read books published a bit more recently. I, in general, don't like reading older books. Sometimes I do, there are exceptions, but like the majority of the books I read have been published after I was born. So, and mostly is it 1990s and up, let's put it that way. Sometimes I do read like an older book, not very often. And I don't often read something that was published like before World War II. But anyway, so I've picked a few. I went by the GoodReads list again, because there may be more books published in this year. Obviously the GoodReads list is not going to include Dutch children's classics, which I'm sure I'll probably have some. But yeah, I just went by what was on that list. The first one is Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is, most people will have heard of this. This is kind of a dystopian future in which some women are kind of used as like breeders, I guess you could call it. I haven't read this. Obviously this question is about unread books, but I have wanted to read this book for some time. It's not high on my priority list. As I said, I gravitate mostly towards more modern books for a variety of reasons, but I hope to read this someday, although I think it will also be a difficult read. Then the next one I have is Tail Chaser's Song by Ted Williams. My parents actually have a really old copy of this book. I mean, this copy is pretty old as well, but an old Dutch copy, and I've always wanted to read that book because it had like this beautiful picture of a cat on it. And then some time ago I found my own copy in the second-hand shop. I'm sure I could borrow it from them as well, but I do like to have my own copy. So here it is. I'm not entirely sure this is about cats, and other than that I don't really know. It's all about cat. It's yeah, again, not high on my priority list, but something I hope to read someday. I really like cats. We have a dog. I'm allergic to cats, but I do really like reading about cats and pictures of cats and all that. So. One thing I forgot to tell you actually is that another reason I want to read Tail Chaser's Song by Ted Williams is that I love his Otherland series. I've read them in Dutch and later on in English. I gave my Dutch copies to my brother, who also loved this series. This is sort of science fiction fantasy series, and it's like about a sort of virtual game, virtual world. Anyway, so that's another reason I want to read Tail Chaser's Song. The third book I have is Dragon Prince by Melanie Ron, and this is book 1. Oh, it seems the series may just be called Dragon Prince. This is quite an old copy. I found this some time ago in like a second-hand sale, and especially in earlier days I used to like reading high fantasy. I don't read it as much anymore. This is a book for adults. I don't quite remember what it was about. It just sounded interesting to me at the time, and I hope to get to it someday. This is a trilogy. I have the other 2 books as well. I also picked them up I think at the same second-hand sale. But again, not saying that's high on my priority list, because I have to admit, like the past year or so, I haven't been as much into fantasy as I was before. So, but you know, someday. Then the 4th book I have is Sinaasappels in de Monen by Jeanette de Winterson, and in English this is called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. I picked this up in a charity shop for 80 cents apparently, and I think it's a pretty famous LGBT book. It's about her growing up very religious, and well, either way, yeah, I've heard nice things about this book. And the last one I have is Contact by Carl Sagan, and I love this movie. I've seen it several times. I really like it. So I picked up the book because I want to see what the book is like. I don't know if it is a bit like the movie or not. This is about a woman who, and like aliens contacting Earth, and her trying to like get the signal. And I'm not really very good at explaining book synopsises, I think. This is what it says on the back. The synopsis I'm giving you is based on the movie that I saw, because I haven't actually read the book, so I don't really know if it's much alike or not, but I love the movie, so I would like to read the book someday. Now, since I put my hat on, it's gone quite a bit darker, so I guess we can take the hat off again. Question 4 is the most obscure sounding book, and I wasn't entirely sure what obscure means in this case, but what I've picked is this book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, Public Discourse in the Cage of Show Business by Neil Postman. I don't know if you can see that, that's GoodReads. And out of the GoodReads list of the 200 most popular books from 1985, this was one that stood out to me. This is one that talks about how television has changed culture, or at least I'm not sure what country this author is from. Let's see if we can find out. American. Okay, so this is about television in America. And the last question is Strangest book cover, and to be honest, I had a bit of a difficulty with this because in the GoodReads list published in, most popular books published in 1985, when you actually click on the cover that it shows you in that list, it is often not the book that was published in 1985, but it is a later copy, and I feel like only the cover that was actually published in 1985 should count. So, and it would be too tiring to go through a lot of the lists and then click on the different cover, and that sounds a bit difficult. So I'm gonna have to, not answer anything for this question. Well, thank you so much for watching this tag. I enjoyed doing it. It was nice going through some books. Oh, and I'm not very good at tagging people, so I'm not gonna tag anyone for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again in my next one. Bye!